Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today for this webinar on GeoJot for Android, the app that turns your smartphone or tablet into a geospatial data collection tool. My name is Stephanie Giard and I'm the Marketing Director at Geospatial Experts. I'll be the moderator for today's webinar. We released GeoJot for the iPhone and the iPad about 8 months ago, and the GeoJot for Android is about to enter beta testing. So you guys are getting to have a sneak preview here today. We expect the app will be ready at the end of the month. All right, before we get started here, I have a few housekeeping issues. The technology is moving fast, so we imagine that many of you will have questions as we present our information to you today. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar and answer as many questions as time permits. You should have a vertical toolbar in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. If it's minimized, it'll just show a red arrow, and you'll need to click on that arrow to see the available tools. There's a Q&A section in the toolbar where you can type in a question. Please feel free to type in questions at any time during the presentation. Your question will be fed into the queue and answered during the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. You can also use this tool if you're having any technical difficulties during the webinar, as I'll be monitoring the Q&A section throughout the webinar. Thanks again for joining us today, and now I will introduce you to today's speaker, John Clark, Director of Business Development for Geospatial Experts. Rick Bobbitt, CEO and Head of Development, will also be with us in today's webinar. Let's see here. With a click of the mouse, I am going to give them control of the presentation. There we go. All right. There you go, John.
Thanks, Stephanie. Again, my name is John Clark. At Geospatial Experts, my focus is on our clients and partners, so please use me as your primary contact with any questions regarding our products, systems, or their use by your organization. Today we will be demonstrating a field and office integrated system for capturing geotagged photographs along with their associated attribute data. We'll show you an end-to-end system for collecting, transferring, processing, and sharing map photos and attribute data. We'll demonstrate how you use an iPhone, an iPad, or an Android smartphone or tablet as the in-the-field photo and data collection device, and use GPS photo link software to process and edit photos and attribute data to prepare it for use by your information consumers. We'll show how the addition of map photos can enhance the usefulness of the information you deliver in map-based projects. This is Geospatial Experts' 11th year in business and our 11th year as the leader in photo mapping software for professionals. Our systems are used worldwide. In the USA, every federal agency, all state governments, countless cities, counties, and universities use our software, as does much of the Fortune 1000. The GeoJot GPS photo link system is an end-to-end system, as I mentioned, for the data collection, output creation, and information sharing. We can conceptualize it in 4 or 5 parts. The first is a collection system where you collect the photos and the attribute information using your Android or iPhone devices. The next one is the transferring of the photo and encoded attribute information to the make it available to the processing system, and this can be done via USB cables, SD disk transfer with SD disks that can be removed from the device, or simply by emailing it. I think most of our users with large field teams are taking advantage of Dropbox and iCloud automatic transfer capabilities. The transfer is done to a PC and directory that you designate, or PCs and directories that you designate, and these directories are accessible using GPS photo link, which in turn is used to process and prepare the information for the decision support systems that will be using it. Our system then creates the output required to support any digital mapping system, any kind of and reports and databases. The system we'll demonstrate today captures and maps both GPS and alphanumeric information about the object or the subject of the photograph. In the geographic information industry, alphanumeric information is known as attributes and attribute values. This slide shows an example of a city sign inventory. It shows a photo of a loading zone sign and the attributes and the attribute values that have been collected to describe it. The first three attributes and their values are sign type, which is loading zone, condition, faded, and action required. So it's pretty obvious what the actionable information is. Replace the faded loading zone sign. Specialized field computers like this Trimble Nomad that's at the top right of the photo have proven the value of attribute capture. The Ricoh G700 camera in the middle is the latest in the line of Ricoh GPS cameras that facilitate photo attribute capture using its back of the camera pick list menus. Today we'll show you how to use the newest edition, the GeoJot smartphone, for photo and attribute collection. The uses for mapped photos and their attributes is only limited by your imagination. Some typical uses include proof of compliance, pre, during, and post-environmental impact documentation, disaster preparation and response, and incident investigation and forensic investigations. Mapped photos solve business problems. The question I hope you'll leave today's webinar with is, how can mapped photos help my organization solve a problem or exploit an opportunity? Before you use GeoJot to collect photos and data, you should think about how your end users and your information consumers need to use the photos and data. Our collection and processing system can provide output that supports most end user needs. An elegantly simple type of GPS photo link output is simply to watermark attribute values on the photographs. Here the Army Corps of Engineers has collected information that is mandated by the government for a piece of real property, a picnic shelter at Bear Creek Recreation District. Of course, this is depicting both the attributes in the middle column and the attribute values and the watermarks that have been embedded above and below the photograph. Some counties in the midst of a disaster initially may hand FEMA officials a handful of watermarked photos to support a quick disaster designation. Importantly, all GPS and attribute information is encoded right into the photo JPEG and stays with the photo, so there are no broken links. All the information travels with the JPEG file of the photo. Printed and web-based reports meet other end-user needs. Here, a street sign audit report shows each sign in the photo. It is placed both on a satellite and a street map, and at the bottom we have a table of the attributes and their values. GPS PhotoLink provides output for use by digital mapping system like Esri's ArcGIS, shown here, where we actually show our system embedded in their toolbar as an extension, and this helps to aid in photo and attribute viewing. GPS PhotoLink provides output that can be used by most database systems, information archiving systems, and back-end enterprise systems. Our professional services team also can help with the integration with these back-end systems or with custom solutions such as photo and data viewing through private or public websites. This is an example of an internal website for the sign audit application that we'll be demonstrating today, showing the overhead map of where the photos are, a photo that's been focused on, and the attributes associated with that photo. Here, Accomack County, Virginia uses our system as a public website to provide information on hurricane damage, and I believe this is specifically showing hurricane damage from Hurricane Irene, I believe it was, the last one to go up the East Coast. So to recap, information collected with GeoJot transferred to a computer and directory that GPS PhotoLink can access and then processed by GPS PhotoLink. The output is any kind of information wanted by a user: watermark photos, web pages, ArcGIS, shape and geodatabases for Esri systems, Google Earth files, relational database files, and reports. Again, I encourage you to contact me and talk specifically about your needs. This is an ideal system for equipping field teams. The baseline GeoJot Enterprise System package includes 30 GeoJot data collection systems, a GPS PhotoLink Enterprise license, customization, training, workflow consultation, etc. So I'll be happy to talk to you about your specific situation. And with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Rick Bobbitt, who will demonstrate live the new Android GeoJot application.
Hello everyone, again this is Rick Bobbitt, President of Geospatial Experts. What I'm going to show you today is the GeoJot for Android system. Let me get that up and running here. We originally developed GeoJot and released it last summer for the Apple iPhone and iPad devices. And now we're pleased to announce that we're just about done with GeoJot for Android. So GeoJot for Android, I'm running here on an emulator on the computer because it's easier to see and we can do all the demos on here. But I'm also going to switch to a live device in a minute to show the camera because the camera doesn't work in the emulator. So when you run GeoJot, this is what you're presented with, is a menu list. The main reason for GeoJot is to not just collect photos and GPS information, but attribute information as well. So that's what Manage Attribute List does, is let you manage all your lists that you have on your device. The camera option will let you take photos and enter data from those attribute lists and attach them to each photo. After you've taken your photos, use the camera roll to see all your different photos and to be able to see them on maps and edit them and delete them as well. And then settings will let you change how things are displayed, like the latitude, longitude, and things like that. So the first thing we're going to go to is the Manage Attribute List. I'll click on that. And this shows all the attribute lists that are on this device right now. You can have as many attribute lists as you want and manage them on your device here. To create a new attribute list, I just click the menu button, click on Add. And for this example, we're going to do a park inventory. So now I created my new list, and I click on it, and then I can edit it. By default, new lists come with title, subject, comment, and description. And these titles are set. You can't change these. But besides these 4, you can add up to 20 additional attributes for each list. So for my sample list, I don't need the description, so I'm going to delete that. And then to add my own attributes, I can click the menu button again and click Add. And the first one I'm going to do is an ID. This ID could be from a barcode or some asset ID that you have for the object. And for each attribute you have one of 20 different slots you can put it in. So this will be my memo 1, and I click OK. So now I've added ID to my list. This makes it very easy to create new lists in the field, to edit the lists in the field, and to then send them to other people. Here I'm going to click the menu button again and add another item. Since we're doing a park inventory, this is going to be the type of item we want. And I can select a memo 2 type for that. And then the last item I'm going to do for the demo is an action. What to do with the information that's received. And I'll put that in as a memo 3. Now for each one of these lists down here, for each one of these lists, you can add a pick list to it or enter data that can be selected in the field. For the ID, that data is going to be entered in the field, so I'm not going to select a list for that. But for the type, I click on type, and now I can hit the menu key and add all my pick list items to this type. So the first type I'll have is like bleachers for a park. And I can add as many of these as I want for this list. It's unlimited. So now we're going to have a bench. And then let's just add one more. We'll do a trash can. Again, after the user takes a photo, they can select from these drop-down lists, or they can type in a new value on their own. So for action required now, I'm going to change and add stuff to its list. So I'm going to create a new item, and action required could be repair. And then this information will be presented, stored in the photo, and then using GPS photo link, which John will show you in a minute, lets you be able to get all this information back out into your databases. So another action might be to replace the item, and I'll just add one more to remove the item. This shows you that you can just easily edit these lists in the field. And now I have my list set up for like I want. I can go back, and that's my park inventory list. To make it the default, which is what the screen checkbox shows, so that it's used when I take a photo, I just click and hold on it and say make default, and that makes it my active list. Now what's really nice is if you have a whole bunch of people, like 10, 15, 20 people, each using a device out there, you can create the list once, and then we can just send it via an email to as many people as you want. So now I'm sending this list to myself, but you can send it to as many people as you want, send the list, and then on their system they can open up the list and they can save it to their list entries as well. So that's it for the attribute list editor, so we can go back to the main menu. The next thing we're going to show is the camera. So for this I'm going to switch to an actual Android device and a video camera to show that. Now I'll turn on the device. So this is an Android. Again, this will work with Android version 2.2 or above and tablets, all those Android devices. So I just click on the GeoJot icon and it starts GeoJot. And we're presented with the same list we had before. For this one, I can go to my Manage Attribute list. I'm going to use the pull attachment, make that default. So that when I go to the camera, so now when I go to camera, this shows us a live picture from our device, including live position information down below. But the GPS isn't working yet. It will be in a second. There it goes. And so now we have position information, and the accuracy information is showed live on the lower right, saying we have 20-foot accuracy. So this gives you the knowledge to wait till your accuracy is good enough for you, and then you can take your photo. It shows us on top that the list we're using is a pull attachment on it. And on the lower left, there's the direction that you're facing and the pitch and roll, or the tilt of the camera itself. If you don't want to display these items on the menu, you can hit the menu button, click Settings, and you can turn on or off each one of these items on this menu here. So I've turned off direction and pitch and roll, and now those don't appear on the screen. The other two buttons here up on top is the flash, whether you want auto on or off, and this is a special GPS lock function. With this function, if I turn it on, then the GPS turns yellow, all the text, and our position is locked to a certain location. You can use this to have the photo capture the position of the object, not actually where you were standing. So you can walk up to an object, lock the GPS, then walk back 30 or 40 feet and take your picture, but the actual point stored in the photo will be the point of the object, not of where you were standing. So I can turn lock back off. Now we're back to live GPS. And so now I can take a photo. Oops, went too many. So now it's taken a photo, and now it wants me to enter this information. This is the attribute list that I chose, and the first piece of information I'm going to enter is a barcode. What we have is a barcode reader, and when you're entering your text, you can just click on the barcode reader. That'll bring up the barcode reader. Then you can just hold it up to the barcode, and it'll read the barcode information, and then put that on the photo itself. So now I've read the barcode information. The RE01 is the ID, and that goes into the barcode field. And shown right there, that is the RE01 is in the barcode field. So the next thing you do is go through all these attributes you want to enter. So for pull type, I can enter a pull type of power. And so on. So you can do that for all your different attributes. For height, I can put in 16 as a feet. And all your different attributes can be entered in this way. So when you're done, you just click Done, and that saves the photo. And you're back to the camera screen. If you take another photo, it'll save all those attributes you just did and let you reuse them, and so you can take 5 photos of the same object over and over again. With that, I can switch back to the emulator. So after you take your photos with the camera, then you can go into the camera roll and see all the photos you've taken. So I can click on camera roll, and now here's a list of all the photos that I've taken with GeoJot. And it shows you the first 3 attributes as well, the sign type, the title, description, and sign type. If you've taken a photo you don't want, it wasn't very good, you can select and hold on a photo and delete the photo. The photo's deleted. You can also send the photo to someone, and when you send the photo, all the GPS information and attribute information are included in the photo. So we can send by email or messaging. Then another way to look at the map, to look at the photos, is to view them on a map. So I can hit the menu key and hit Map. And this will show us a live map, Google Map, of where all my photos were taken. And I can zoom in. Oops, I can zoom in on the photos to see them a little closer. And I can also change the map type. If you want a satellite view instead of a road view, you can change the map mode from roads back to satellite hybrid. And that shows you your photos on a satellite map. You can click on the photo here and see which photo it is and go and view it. But I'm going to go back to the camera roll now. So back in the camera roll, we can click on a photo to see more information about that photo. So we click on the photo and we go to the details screen. This shows the photo, single photo on one map with all the attribute information and GPS information. So this is the position, the altitude, the direction, and the date and time. To see the rest of the attributes that you entered in the field, you can click on the attribute button and now see the title, the sign audit, description, sign type, condition, and so on. If you need to edit this data, then you can also hit the menu button and hit edit, and then you can change that data, or you can delete the photo here, or again, you can send the photo to someone else as well. You can also easily switch between photos. We're at photo 2 of 6, so if I go previous, we're at the first photo. And this allows you to scan through the photos very fast and watching like the sign type change as we click through the photos. This provides an easy way to verify and check your information that you entered. We can also show the photo at full size like that. So we have the photo, the map, and the attribute showing. So I can go back now to the camera roll and then back to the main menu. The last thing to talk about is settings. With the settings, we can show how the coordinates, distance, and direction are displayed. In coordinates, we can change it to degrees, minutes, seconds, or degrees, minutes, and decimal degrees. For distance, we can go from feet to meters. And for direction, we can choose if we want true or magnetic north. To show a cardinal direction, I can change it to a 16 point. And whether we want to show the decimal degrees and the cardinal direction or just one or the other. I'll change it to cardinal degrees. So now that I changed those settings, if I go back to camera roll and pick on a sign, now the format of my lat long is how I specified, and the altitude is in feet, and the direction is in cardinal plus degrees. That's it for the live demo. We'll switch it back to John now, and he'll go into more detail on GPS photo link and how you process.
Thanks, Rick. We're going to now show the processing center, a live demo. And that's the GPS photo link application. And I'm going to start with an overview showing the project manager. In our example, we've now collected the photos and attributes using our mobile devices in the GeoJot application, and we've transferred the data and coded photos into specific directories on designated computers using USB, removable SD cards, or automatically by way of a cloud connection. The next step is to prepare and process the photos and data for reports and for mapping, database, and other systems for analysis, decision support, and information storage. You set up GPS photo link, the processing system, to support your procedures. And workflow isn't important. Procedures and workflow are important. So we have a very flexible system that will fit into the way you want to work. We support your procedures. Your photo and data preparation can be done centrally or by every GeoJot user, whatever fits your workflow, maybe by team leads or by subject matter experts if you want to set it up that way. Using GPS photo link, you organize your work using logical projects such as an inventory of a city's street signs and assets. That's what you're looking at here. Is we have our projects organized, and I'm going to open up the signs and assets project for a demonstration. Obviously, I've already created this. GPS photo link is loaded with extensive capabilities for power users, but most users will find that all they need is to use the 7-step wizard interface. We will use 7 steps starting with import photos and ending with select and create output. To edit, transform, standardize, verify quality, and prepare our photos and data for our information consumers. Each step has its own tab on the left-hand side. Our first step is to select and import the photos to use in our project. So to do that, you navigate to the computers and the directories where the photos are stored and choose the ones you want to use, either in mass by clicking all in folder or selectively by choosing them with the toggle switch here or holding down the control key and selecting them in groups. I've already imported these into the project, so we'll go with the ones I have. Although we won't go into most of the tools, every user will want to become acquainted with tools using the icons at the top, or I'm going to find a photo I don't want. I'm going to select that. You also can access the tools, some of the tools by, and these are ones that every user should know, by right-clicking the mouse button. In this case, I'm going to exclude this photo from my project. I'm not going to delete it, which I could do using another icon or another tool, but I'm going to exclude it. This keeps the photo in the project but excludes it from the output. The next step is the geotag wizard, and this is used for photos taken with non-GPS cameras and to prepare data collected by Trimble and other field computer systems. Photos taken using GeoJot are already encoded with the attribute values collected by the user, so we won't go into this feature for purposes of this demonstration today. The attribute editor is used to prepare the alphanumeric attributes, attribute values, and map and GPS information. And what we have here is the attributes grouped. In this case, we have 5 different groups. The attribute editors are used to edit, verify, and ensure data consistency and quality. So the focus changes in the attribute editor by selecting a photo from the photo column or selecting a photo by clicking on it on the map column. So we have 3 sections here: photos, attribute editor in the middle, and map on the right-hand side. You can view all of your photos in your project by clicking on Zoom Extents, and that pulls back so we high enough so we can see all the photos in the project. If you want to view a specific photo, you can select the photo again either from the map or the photo column. And if you want to zoom in on that photo, click Zoom, and now we've zoomed in tightly on that photo in our project. Attributes are grouped by photo, and these will be familiar when you remember the GeoJot demonstration: title, subject, comment. GPS is another group. And here we have latitude, longitude, elevation, direction of photo, and other information. I'm going to point out a convention here. Anything in blue is going to be information that can be edited by the user. And so I'm going to close this down. Well, no, actually I'm going to show you something first. If we go to a photo here and we realize that this photo, we didn't get quite the GPS accuracy we wanted, we could either change it by retyping in latitude and longitude, or if I know where that photo should be, I can move it. Now, typically it might be in this situation if we have a street sign where it's showing out in the middle of the street rather than alongside the street, but I can move the photo to where it should be if I'm familiar with the project, and it will change my latitude and longitude for the photo. So again, because these are in blue, they're editable, and I edit it either this way by just moving the icon. Might mention one other thing again. If we wanted, rather than icons, we wanted to show thumbnails of the photos to get our bearings. That's thumbnails of the photo. I can show them big thumbnails or small thumbnails, and now I've got my bearings. I'm going to go back to icons by toggling that off. If I go to the memos group, then we see the kinds of GeoJot memos that Rick was creating on the GeoJot. Here's a barcode for the sign. Attribute sign type, it's an information sign. Material attribute value is steel. Any of these are editable. If you want to select a couple of photos, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to change the comment here to furniture. For those two photos only, I now have edited the and actually I guess I should have held my control key down, but for whatever photos you want to change, you can edit. And so for the picnic table, I've changed it to furniture. The memo field editing section shows the attributes used in the GeoJot menus and the values created by the user. And again, I want to emphasize, all can be edited as needed to assure the most accurate, consistent, and actionable information is ready for your information consumers. The next step is the photo editor, and that the photo editor has all the features to prepare, again, your photos for use in reports, mapping, and back-end decision support systems. With both editing of the alphanumeric information and the photographic information, you are preparing the information oftentimes for use by somebody that isn't familiar intimately with the project. So the better you can prepare the information, the more valuable and actionable it is going to be for them. Color, light, controls, cropping controls are probably things you're familiar with from Photoshop and other photo editors. Oftentimes, if you want to zoom in on a specific area, you can crop down to that area, or you can draw a box or circle around it. You also can annotate this with text and alphanumeric information. So again, you get the photos ready for output into the systems that you'll be using them on the back end. The fifth section of the wizard is watermarking, and watermarks can be added to photos as desired. They can be added to show either inside or outside the photo. So I'm showing them inside, and I can toggle back to outside of the photo. You can select any attributes and attribute values from the attribute picker to use as watermarks. So, and you use that by selecting them by clicking on them or unclicking on them, and they get added to the list of attributes over here. I can also subtract them off by using the subtract key here. You decide on the color, the font, the size of the watermarks, and also where on the photo they will appear. You can select watermarks placement from 3 columns, left, right, center, and 12 rows. So you have complete control over font size, color, placement of the watermarks, including outside the photo. The shared output settings allow you to prepare the output for your users. In this case, the title page for the reports, you can add things like logos and add information that will be on the report. You can also check what maps and choose from Google, ArcGIS, USGS maps. You can choose the their resolution, and also the zoom level. In other words, how far from the Earth are they? And you can choose custom maps. And so you have a lot of control over the kinds of maps that you'll use both for your cover page of reports and for every photo. If you have one page per photo, or use our contact sheet capabilities to map photos, maps, and attributes. The attribute table is another part of the output settings, and here you pick what attributes will be output in the tables and reports, and the order of the attributes that will appear in the tables and the reports, and also the order of attributes that you'll be exporting into spatial databases such as Google Earth and Esri systems, and relational databases. So again, the same convention, you check them if you want the attributes included, or you uncheck them to take them off the list. You also can change the order of them to align the attributes with the back-end system's columnar data that you want the attributes to merge in with. So here I've just raised the date and time stamp to the top. I can move it down the stack, or I could even move it back to the bottom. Another important thing here is the ability to rename the photos, and again, you use the attributes to create a new name for the photos. So if the unique name here might be the barcode of the photo, I may click that, and I also may want to move it up to the front of the name, and I see that in my name preview. So again, whatever I want to rename the photo to be, I choose it from the attribute list, and I select the order that I want the name to be by using the ordering tools. When I'm ready for output, I select my output. I have a variety of kinds of reports that I can select, and I can also select data files for spatial databases like Esri and Google Earth, shape files for Esri, also geodatabase files for Esri, including things like including the photos right into the geodatabase as part of a blob database, so you don't have broken links. We support personal, file, and enterprise geodatabases. We support KML, KMZ, output for Google Earth, Universal, digital mapping systems, a native Microsoft Access database, I think that's about 4 or 6 tables, and a flat file, comma-separated values. When I'm ready to output, I create the output, and what I'm going to show you here is if we go back to Project Manager, under your project you now see the kinds of outputs that in this case I've already created. If I go to, for instance, ArcGIS, here's ArcMap showing again the project that we've been working on, and if I hover over one of the icons, we're going to see a familiar sign with the as many as 9 attributes and attribute values available. We are embedded right in the toolbar here, so we can set up differing amounts of types of attribute values and attributes that we will show when we click or hover over one of the signs here. So with that, I think we're going to go into the Q&A session. I think we're getting a lot of questions here, so we'll try to answer the ones and that we feel most of you are interested in. And we'll get our list here, and thank everybody for coming. I hope we answer your question. If we don't, please contact me. We'll answer it on an individual basis. Again, thanks for coming today.
So again, we're going to be taking questions now. and try and answer as many as we can. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. Someone's asking about the values of the attributes and how they match up. Are there like double or time or something like that? And so right now all the values, all the attributes we type in are text. So there's no way to say that it's a number or a double or a date or time, but that is on our list of things to do so that you can restrict users just to typing in a number or date and time or that kind of thing. Again, ask more questions if you want. I'm going to go through these as quickly as I can. Someone asked about iPhones and barcode, and we're going to try to do that. It's not in our GeoJot for iPhone now, but that's on our list to have the same kind of barcode reading. Android is a little more open, a little more easier to do things like barcodes and deleting photos that the iPhone has a hard time doing. I'm just reading through the next questions. Someone's asking about forms, like if you have a Microsoft Word form that you want to use to fill out for PhotoLink, and we can't really do forms per se right at this time. We do have various report outputs, and very soon we're adding capability for like contact sheets and other types of reports. So we are definitely enhancing our reporting capabilities and what we can do with reports. And again, for each attribute, you can have 24 in GeoJot. You can have up to 24 attributes that you collect per photo. Someone asked about how many attributes you can collect. And then someone's asking about taking more than one photo per item, and that's what, yes, you can do that. When you take a photo and enter in all the data, if you take another photo, it'll keep the same entries that you did before. So you can easily take 5 photos of the same object, and they would all have the same data and ID in them. So someone's asking about accuracy of the GPS and GeoJot. For Android, it's very device specific, but most of them are accurate to 3 to 5 meters, and GeoJot cannot really increase that. For the iPhone, however, if you take a photo with the normal camera app on the iPhone, it's only accurate to about 100 feet or 60 feet. But if you use GeoJot on the iPhone, then you get the same 3 to 5 meter or 15 feet accuracy by using GeoJot. And someone's asking about tablets or iPads. So the Android application should work on all Android devices 2.2 and above, including tablets. And the GeoJot for iPhone and iPad, of course, work on the iPad 2 and the iPhones. They do have to have a GPS, so that's an option for an iPad. You need to get the iPad with a GPS.
Let's see, where I have a question about the cost. The GeoJot purchased for an individual user on the App Store is $99.99. For a field team beginning with 30 users, we have a package of 30 GeoJots and enterprise license for GPS PhotoLink and training and support and customization. Package starts at $10,000. And again, I'm John Clark. My contact information is in the presentation. Please contact me because we can work with you as far as number of field users and how you're going to set up PhotoLink either centrally, regionally, or other ways, and I can give you exact quotes on the cost for that.
And then someone's asking a question about editing the attributes of a photo after you take them. And with the Android app, you will be able to edit the attributes. So like you can review the attributes after you take the photos. And in the field, you can then correct the attributes or change them. For the iPhone app, because of the locked system of their photos, we cannot do that with the iPhone, but we will be able to do it with the Android. And someone has some barcode questions. Does it work with QR codes? It does work with the QR or data matrix barcodes as well as the 1D barcode, so it does work with most 1D and 2D barcodes. Keep sending your questions in. If we don't get to them in the webinar today, we are going to go through all the questions and email you guys directly if we need to. Someone asked about, we have 24 attributes for GeoJot. How about GPS photo link? And really it's the same in GPS photo link right now. You have 20 memos and the title, description, comment, and so you have the same 24 in GeoJot as you do in PhotoLink. And then someone talked about, do you have to have network connection? And the answer is no. You can be out of cell phone coverage, out of Wi-Fi, and your GPS will still work, so you can collect all your photos in rural areas with no problems, and then because it's not dependent on any network connection at all.
I have a question about a one-click project icon that's kind of locked in for field inspectors, and that's one thing we're working on. If you need that kind of capability, I think that may be alluding to kind of a lockdown list. Please contact me, John Clark, and we'll talk you through that and the availability of that. The presentation, we will be posting today's presentation. We will be posting to our website in the next several business days.
And then someone's asking about a one-click project icon, and I think that's in PhotoLink. The answer is yes. You can set up a template in PhotoLink, so it's easy to get all your settings done, and then if you create a new project, you can use that template, and then it's very easy to import more photos, and all your settings will be done that way. If that question was for GeoJot, then you can easily have just an attribute list that's like one entry or something like that, or no entries, and then they send the photo back to you that way as well.
Rick, can you go back to the emulator, and we'll show the preliminary damage assessment table, the FEMA table. Somebody's saying, can we see what that list looks like? So this is a list that was provided to us by Accomack County, and a list they're actually using.
Whoa.
So we'll bring up the Android here in a second, and maybe.
Okay, that'll take a little while to launch,
okay.
So we can answer some more questions.
Okay, we'll launch that, and then we'll try to get to that one. Show you another.
Oh, it's already going? No, it's not. Okay. So we're going to go through some more questions here. We're about done. And then she has answered the and someone's talking about multiple GeoJots, and yeah, that's what you can do, is have 20 people out in the field with 20 GeoJots, and then back in the office you can use PhotoLink to process the photos from all your users. But again, like if you need more information about the enterprise version, you can do that as well. So here's the emulator. What are we going to show, John?
We're going to show the the Accomack County lists. They actually sent us a couple. So if we go to Manage Attribute Lists, and we go down to Damage Assessment, let's go to Damage Assessment, the second one to begin with. So this is, they go out and take pictures of, like we saw on their public-facing website, and if we click on occupancy type, and then it gives us our choices as we take a picture what kind of occupancy, what kind of dwelling it is. So that's a fairly straightforward degree of damage, plumb damage. If we go back to the other list, damage assessment PA, preliminary damage assessment, and click on these are actually production lists used by Accomack County. So they take photos and they use the drop-down list to document and add attribute values to those photos.
Okay, well, I think we're out of time. It's at the end of the hour, and we want to thank everyone for joining us on this GeoJot webinar. If you have any questions, feel free to call us or email John. We have our contact information, and just want to thank you a lot.
Thanks. Have a good rest of the day.